Hi, Scott Orlin with Cinema-Magazin. There is a terrific new movie coming your way called Made in Italy, and we're here with one of the stars who you're actually going to meet for the very first time, Micheál Richardson. I can't even imagine how difficult it was for you to have to wake up every morning and go to work in Italy. Talk about the challenges for you.
It's devastating. Well, there really was no challenges besides maybe the potholes in the dirt road getting to the to set. We stayed in this small little town called San Quirico, medieval town, and waking up to these bells and the birds chirping and the espressos on the street. It was a vacation. It really was. So lucky.
And what I'm always fascinated about actors who kind of have to step into roles and be quote unquote experts about a subject. What is your relationship to art? What did you know about galleries?
I hadn't spent much time inside art galleries before. I love art. I'm not well versed on the artists themselves and how to intellectually talk about a painting or whatever, but it's a big impact. I remember a couple years ago I was in Paris by myself and I walked around the Louvre, and it was this kind of all-encompassing feeling where you're walking and you are in a space where there are these sculptures and paintings that had been worked on 500, 600, 700 years ago, and it was humbling. There weren't that many tourists at the moment too, so it was kind of quiet in this cavernous space, and it felt, I don't know, it felt not creepy. Not creepy isn't the right word. It was just this very humbling. These what artists do in these. I mean, back then the old artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, these guys were also on their off time dissecting human bodies and learning the anatomy of the human being. They were scientists and thinkers and engineers. So I in that way, his art history really fascinates me.
Well, I'm getting ready to cut up a chicken right after this, so I'll be doing a little dissecting too. When I look back on movies that have resonated with me, there's a common theme to some of them, be it Field of Dreams, Life is Beautiful, even Lion King. It's the connection between a father and a son.
Wow.
Because especially as a guy, we spend so much of our youth and adolescence trying to make that connection with our father, getting him to see us in equal terms. And so a movie like this just really, really resonates. You got to do it with your actual father. Yeah. So talk a little bit about what connection you guys made.
We going into it, we were very close friends. I mean, he's my dad, and I think that's a beautiful part of adulthood. You grow up and you realize this older authoritative figure that you've seen your whole life is actually kind of a chill dude, and you like hanging out with him. So then doing that, but also getting to work with him, the experienced actor that he is, seeing how he works on set, and his own temperament is fascinating. And you learn a lot of things. He's very still and patient, and that's something that I have a little more trouble with. I'm like bouncing around the set a lot. But yeah.
Do you remember as a kid on sets? I mean, did you learn any of your craft by watching him?
Yes, watching him and watching many others, for sure. I love watching old films that my dad was in, like Excalibur. When I say old films, this film was made in 1980, so I'm sorry for saying that's an old film. But so seeing him in that light is so interesting, and then also seeing my mother in the early stages of her career. It's cool not only to see them as a son and to see them as my mom and dad, but to watch how they work as an actor and how they, and their talent is fascinating.
And I'm trying to be incredibly emotionally respectful here, but the film deals with the grieving process of the father and a child who have lost their mother. And sadly, that is exactly what has happened to the two of you.
Yeah.
I mean, how cathartic was an experience like that? I can't even imagine having to step into that forum. But was it healthy in a way for you guys?
Oh, I think tremendously healthy. Yeah, I've said it before many times that you want to be able to honor them in some way and carrying them with you. And this story tells you that you can't just push all of those feelings and memories away because it hurts and makes you sad thinking about them. You have to carry them with you and honor them and respect them and do the things that they would want you to do the things they would want to do. So that's what I hope people take away from it, who have lost somebody in their lives. And at the end of the film, that's what you see. You see this father and son who can then, put their past behind themselves by remembering and honoring the past, if that makes sense.
Part of that connection they do is they remodel a house. Could you ever do that with your dad? Could you go through that, help try to remodel a house even with your brother or somebody?
Well, I'd be interested. Me and my brother just we built this. I wouldn't call it like a garden. It was just this like space with a fire pit, and we strung up a bunch of lights and built this sort of stage. Hopefully, we can play live music there at some point. So we're pretty, we're not bad with our hands. I'm not a carpenter by all means, but yeah.
Well, since you opened that hornet's nest, let's just talk. What kind of music do you play? What instrument?
I play guitar a bit. I also was briefly into music production, so I like electronic music a lot. Right now, I'm listening to a lot of the Stone Roses. I'm listening to a lot of funk, and I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then there's so many out there, so many great ones. But off the top of my head, yeah. And old school rap, old school hip hop rap, I love.
Well, I can't wait for your rap album. That's going to be incredibly exciting.
Oh, no way.
I want to ask you, there's a moment in the movie, and I don't want to give away the specific sequence, when you discover that your father did something for you as a little kid. He put something somewhere.
Yes.
Yes. And I was wondering, what was the coolest thing you remember from your childhood that your mom or dad did that you discovered later in life? Like you didn't know at the time that they were the ones who did that for you.
That's really funny. I believed in Santa Claus until a very late age. I think I was like 10 or 11 when I found out that Santa Claus was actually my parents. But growing up in a family of actors, they really did a good job and making it seem like Santa Claus was real, because there would always be a guest friend that would come and discreetly play Santa Claus. We'd hear a bell ring Christmas Eve, and we'd look out, and very subtly there'd be this Santa Claus figure going up to this pine tree outside, placing a little letter out front and running away. And I would stand outside for hours looking to see if I could see his sleigh, his reindeers taking off. So they did this every year. And then they told me it wasn't real. And I think that traumatized me in a sense. But that was it. They loved imagination and wanting to keep that imaginative spirit alive.
Well, you got your revenge. You went into their profession. So
exactly.
Good on you. Micheál, I cannot thank you enough for your time and for your creativity.
You,
I love this movie. It's terrific. This is Scott Orlin. Till next time.
Thanks, Scott.